A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Mark. As Jesus was leaving Jericho with his disciples and a sizable crowd, Bartimaeus, a blind man, the son of Timaeus, sat by the roadside begging. On hearing that it was Jesus of Nazareth, he began to cry out and say, "Jesus, Son of David, have pity on me." And many rebuked him, telling him to be silent. But he kept calling out all the more, "Son of David, have pity on me." Jesus stopped and said, "Call him." So they called the blind man, saying to him, "Take courage, get up, Jesus is calling you." He threw aside his cloak, sprang up, and came to Jesus. Jesus said to him in reply, "What do you want me to do for you?" The blind man replied to him, "Master, I want to see." Jesus told him, "Go your way. Your faith has saved you." Immediately, he received his sight and followed him on the way. The Gospel of the Lord. Take courage. Jesus' last stop before going up to Jerusalem is the oasis city of Jericho, where he cures the blind man Bartimaeus. The blind man may have heard reports of the prophet from Nazareth who is powerful in deeds. When Jesus comes to Jericho, Bartimaeus makes himself noticed by crying out, addressing Jesus with the messianic title, Son of David. People are irked by his pleading and tell him to be silent. But when Jesus stops and asks that Bartimaeus be brought to him, they change their tone to that of encouragement, saying, "Take courage, get up, Jesus is calling you." After receiving his sight, Bartimaeus follows Jesus all the way. It is a discipleship unlike that of the 12 in Galilee, where Jesus enjoyed popularity and the respect of the people, which certainly flowed on his disciples. Now, it is a journey to Jerusalem, where Jesus will take the way of the cross, and where his followers are invited to take up their cross and follow after Jesus. Most probably, like the 12, the faith of Bartimaeus would not be enough to make him stay with Jesus. Mark writes that when Jesus was arrested in Gethsemane, they all left him and fled. The journey to Jerusalem is thus a true journey of discipleship, a discipleship on the meaning of the cross. Fixated as the disciples are to the idea of a glorious Messiah, Jesus has to gradually cure them of this blindness, so that they may transcend the pain and horror of the cross and see it as a historical document of the love of God, who does not spare his own Son, but hands him over for the salvation of humankind. Will the disciples then see and take up their cross to follow Jesus? They would fail, but God's grace is greater than their failure. The risen Jesus will gather them together, forgive them, and renew his call to follow him, this time going out into the deep, to preach the gospel to all creation. We can imagine Bartimaeus also recovering his bearing and testifying to the risen Jesus at whatever cost.